Xin chào các bạn, chào mừng tất cả các bạn đã đến với chương trình Lịch sử hào hùng, một chương trình được đặc biệt tạo ra bởi TIểN giúp cho việc luyện tập nghe tiếng Anh trở nên thú vị hơn qua những chủ đề lịch sử. Để luyện tập tốt hơn, hãy cùng quét mã bài tập ở góc phải màn hình hoặc click vào phần mô tả để luyện tập tốt nhất nhé. Ok, bắt đầu thôi!
US dollars and Saigon currency were the two most important currencies during the war, but they were not the only ones needed. To buy weapons and ammunition, it was necessary to either purchase them from the north and transport them down or buy them from neighboring countries and bring them in. However, purchasing from the north was extremely costly due to the intense bombing by the US, making it highly risky as there was no certainty that the goods would reach the south without being lost along the way. Therefore, we had to resort to buying from neighboring countries and then transporting the goods to the south. The question then arises, which country is the most advantageous for purchasing? And what currency should be used to make these purchases? At that time, Sihanouk was the head of state of the Kingdom of Cambodia, a country bordering Vietnam, and he had a special affection for Ho Chi Minh. Additionally, Sihanouk highly respected his mentor, Professor CAMPUCHIA, who was then serving as an ambassador to Cambodia. Moreover, Cambodia has a significant advantage, the Sihanoukville port. Thus, we chose the Cambodian reals as the intermediary currency to purchase essential goods, weapons, and ammunition. However, that was just the first step. The next question was, how do we obtain the reals? And once we have the reals and have made purchases, how do we transport the goods back to Vietnam? To answer this, the General Logistics Department dispatches Comrade Đức Phương to Cambodia, posing as a major merchant for the Khmer Empire. The North provided him with sufficient gold and foreign currency to conduct business and acquire Cambodian reals. Additionally, he expanded his relationships with his high-ranking officials. For instance, on the birthday of the Cambodian Minister of Security, Đức Phương gifted him a brand new Mercedes to gain favor. In return, the Minister of Security gifted Đức Phương his own car as a keepsake. This inadvertently made Đức Phương car virtually untouchable. Riding in this car, no police dared to stop him. They would simply bow respectfully. Third, the transport of goods and money was successfully carried out thanks to Đức Phương. Sihanoukville port was extremely crucial as it facilitated the receipt of a lot of aid from allied countries. It was necessary to transport goods through these ports because the road routes were heavily bombed by the enemy, making sea routes critical. The Vung Ro incident in 1965 has exposed our sea transport operations, leading to the stringent controls over the sea route, making them very difficult to use. Bribes for officials at Sihanoukville port was exorbitantly high. It cost $2 per kilogram of weapons and $1 per kilogram for other goods. These rates vary depending on the route and the officials managing them. At times, officials prefers weapon over money, taking 30% of the weapons. For instance, for every 10 guns, they would take 3. Additionally, storage costs in warehouse, which had to be paid in real, were very high. Despite these costs, it was still preferable as the traditional routes were even riskier due to the bombing. Everything seemed smooth until 1970, when Lon Nol staged a coup against Sihanouk, bringing immense difficulties for us. Sihanouk supported Vietnam, but Lon Nol was backed by the US. He did everything possible to block our supply routes through Cambodia. Lon Nol did not know exactly how much reals was being stored in Vietnam, but was aware that a significant amount was used for operations in Cambodia. such as bribing soldiers and officers and purchasing goods. Therefore, Long Nong ordered a currency exchange and closed the border to nullify all rules held by us. The exchange plans was kept secret and only announced on the day it began, February 24th, and ended on March 10, 1970, a week before the coup. Consequently, our forces were unaware. However, by chance, the exchange papers, including announcements of where and how the exchange would take place, were printed at the world-renowned printing house, the most modern and trusted at that time. Luckily, the manager was a Vietnamese expatriate, Trần Chi Năng. His father, originally from An Giang, has lived in Cambodia for many years and became a senior officer in the National Treasury of Cambodia. Both father and son were our people. We had previously planned to place Trần Chi Năng in a key position at Wat Phnom to conduct business and print secret documents for our force. Hence, he was sent to Hong Kong to learn printing techniques, and upon returning, he became a top expert and manager at the printing house. Given this background, why did the Long Nong regimes not suspect anything and still trust Trần Chi Nang's printing house? Simply because his father had lived there for a long time, and Trần Chi Nang has an English wife, making the Cambodian government believe he has assimilated. This complacency allowed us to learn their secrets. However, the problem were more complex when we found out about the currency exchange. Long Nong's troops tightly surrounded the printing house to ensure the secrecy of the exchange plan. How could we inform our troops outside? The situation was dire with strict lockdowns. Knowing the plans was one thing, but conveying the information was extremely challenging. How did our troops eventually learn about Long Nong's currency exchange and manage to exchange the reals in time? Let's find out in the next episode of Glorious History.
Chương trình xin được phép tạm dừng tại đây. Đừng quên ấn like và subscribe nhé.